The Figli della Forza. Unless you're already religious or Italian, you probably don't know who they are. They're a new religious movement that's kind of been popping off lately. It's a little complicated, but for now, all you need is a bucket of popcorn, a nice, cool drink, and an open mind. The Roman Empire. A strange and very complicated history, and I won't go into all the details, mostly because I barely know them, but also because they don't really matter today. All that matters is Italy and these two cities right here, Modena and Bologna. Now, Modena and Bologna were on two opposite sides of what's known in history as the investiture controversy. Basically, all over the Roman Empire, different cities were arguing over who should be in power. You either supported the emperor or you supported the pope. In this case, the Modenese were on the side of the emperor, while the Bolognese were on the side of the pope. And this was the cause of decades-long conflict. However, in the middle of this conflict, the Modenese stole a prized bucket from a city well in Bologna. It was kind of a petty middle finger in the middle of a war. Now, the Bolognese were obviously pissed about this, but there's not really much they could do. And in the end, Modena won the war and also kept the bucket, which is said to still be on display in City Hall to this day. Or at least that's what history claims, but some people might claim otherwise. And that leads us to the story of Patricia Lemorf. She's a former Christian youth group leader who went backpacking through Europe to find herself and the answers to life's greatest questions. And upon learning about the conflict between Modena and Bologna, she went and visited this bucket and was forever changed. After her encounter, she started the Figli della Forza. The following recording is her first-hand account of that experience.
I had walked into the room and immediately felt the energy shift. It was like I had lost control of my body, but I was fully okay with the circumstances. I felt safe. I felt whole. I felt calm. I could immediately tell that this energy, this force that was coming from the vessel, the bucket, and I just knew that I had to follow. It sounds crazy, but it was as simple as that. It really was.
And from then, the Figli della Forza, or the Children of the Force, were born. The Children of the Force are a religious movement, and they're characterized by their worship of an omnipotent deity they simply call the Force. Contact with this force is said to provide invulnerability, health and healing, both physical and mental, and most importantly, profound knowledge that cannot be acquired by any other means. Now let's look at the moving parts of the FDF and how they contribute to the bigger movement. Patricia, who's the head, is known as the Keeper. She was the first to make contact with this force through her interaction with the bucket, and as a result, she was appointed by the force to be the keeper of the vessel, which is the bucket. As the keeper of the vessel, she's in charge of who's allowed to make direct contact with it, and thus the force. Those who she chooses as worthy of making contact are known as her confidants. Confidants are the only other members besides Patricia that are allowed to make direct contact with this bucket, and they're in charge of the congregation. They're teachers in the way that they're responsible for holding events and sessions with members and outsiders. They're always available via online forums to respond to questions and offer insight whenever prompted. As of right now, there are only 8 known appointed confidants. And the most important members of a religious movement are the disciples. In the FDF, they're known as vagabonds. In the English definition of a vagabond, it's merely someone who is constantly moving around with no known home or job. In the Italian definition, they're just considered wanderers. In search of a home or place to belong, the wanderers follow the force and adopt a new carefree way of life. They frequently attend meetings called Ripo-Rila, which they describe as rest and relaxation, and this is also time for group discussion with appointed confidants or group meditation. And then they're given water or other liquids to drink that have been purified in the vessel by Patricia herself. Members are also obliged to follow the creed of the Forza. A few of the rules are listed here, such as not boasting about their way of life or attending the Ripo-Rila meetings at least once a week. Some other rules also include not abusing their tools of entertainment or enlightenment, which includes social media, alcohol, or drugs. Here's a first-hand account from a wanderer who's been with the FDF for over a year.
Man, I used to stress a lot about religion and my way of life. My parents were like super evangelical, and I always felt like super restricted with it and everything. I was basically just like looking, and then one day I saw a post about like a Forza circle. So I went and I invited my friend. We went just for shit. I didn't think I'd actually get anything out of it. And it was really crazy how quickly I felt at peace and at home. It was like that piece I was missing, I started attending more frequently, and when I first got to go to an initiation ceremony, I kind of just jumped at the opportunity to join, and I've honestly never been happier. It's like so much easier to be, and I just feel more aligned with myself and with the Force.
The Vagabonds are also encouraged to use art therapies to visualize the Force and better connect to their faith through this medium. Outsiders are often welcome to these gatherings, whether online or in person. The FDF are a very open religious movement. Family and friends of members are often invited to attend, even just as onlookers, and members who want out are sent on their way with no problems or animosity, or so they say. They thrive off being transparent with their practices and relish at the opportunity to answer questions when asked. The members, however, are told not to talk too much about practices when unprompted or out of the context of inviting others to a service. This is to avoid negative things being said about them. Patricia goes into more detail about their operations.
I used to be a youth group leader for my Catholic church in my hometown. I know how restrictive being part of a religious group can feel. I think I'm proudest of what we created here because there's no harsh pressures. I mean, it's not a free-for-all, but we have a structure that allows our members to find themselves, to find their way. And they don't have to worry about that judgment. They just have to surrender to the Force. And we comfort each other, and we strive to learn, and we want to heal the world. We want to heal ourselves. And I think that's all anyone can really ask for nowadays,
Patricia has never been specific about the end goal for the FDF. She only says that they know one day the world will succumb to the Force and the natural path of human existence will be over. But before then, she and the other members of the FDF strive to collaborate with others, to spread their teachings far and wide, and overall, make the world a slightly better place. So that's the Children of the Force. Comment what you think of the religious movement. Would you join? And come back next week and we'll discuss a new fun religious movement that maybe we can all join together.